Okay, all flight controllers, go for landing. Retro. Go. Vital. Go. Guidance. Go. Control. Go. Telcom. Go. GNC. Go. Ecom. Go. Surgeon. Go. Capcom, we're go for landing.
There is nothing wrong with your television. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are now controlling the transmission. We control the horizontal and the vertical. We can deluge you with 1,000 channels or expand one single image to crystal clarity and beyond. We can shape your vision to anything our imagination can conceive. For the next hour, we will control all that you see and hear. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the deepest inner mind to the outer limits.
This is DDS02D. This is Straight Talk with Marvel 318. How y'all doing tonight? I hope y'all doing good tonight. It is Friday. I'm just chilling right now. I had a few things I was thinking about tonight that I wanted to talk about. And one of these things is why the Black manosphere is so important right now. Despite what's being said out here on social media, you know, the Black manosphere holds these conclaves every year. And at these conclaves, we help these brothers in their mental, in their physical, in their social lives to be all around good Black men, great Black men, to improve them. So what are we talking about? Please come join us September the 6th through September the 8th, 2024, for the Black Manosphere Conclave 4.0, Standing Firm in Our Leadership. It's going to be in Houston, Texas. This is a great example of Black men being able to come together, to uplift each other, to set an example for younger Black men to follow. Because what we're seeing out here are very specific issues that pertain to Black men, and we address them. Particularly, that's what I like to do. I address the issues facing Black men out here in this world. Just like I said, come join us. Come join us. Houston, here we come. Houston, here we come, September the 6th through September the 8th. Early bird tickets are at $95. We've extended the sale for another month. So come join us at www.black-manosphere.org and sign up for membership and sign up to come on board to the Black Manosphere Conclave. This is the 4th such event that we've had. It's been an epic success, and it's one of the largest gatherings of Black men anywhere. We've got brothers lined up to help you get your fitness on point, brothers lined up to get your mind right, brothers lined up to help you in your social game, and most importantly, brothers lined up to help you get that bag, earn that money out here. So yes, come join us. So one of the topics that that we talk about at these conclaves, and what I actually talk about on social media, although it doesn't get the attention that it may deserve out here, but it's this issue of physical fitness. It's really important that you as a Black man are out here getting your exercise in and eating right daily. That's very important. Why is that so important? It's so important because Black men face unique stressors operating in this society. Very unique stressors. And one of the best ways to be able to be durable and consistent is to take care of your body. So one of the things that I like to do every other day, I'm running 4 or 5 miles. I'm out there running, you know what I'm saying, trying to get my stamina, my cardio up. I'm doing push-ups, I'm doing sit-ups, like I'm keeping my body right, because the body and the mind works together. You have to have these two working together to be what? All around, well-rounded as a man. We want you to be well-rounded as a Black man. That's very important. I mean, if you're out here not taking care of your body, you're not going to last long out here. All of these stresses, on your heart, all of these stresses on your blood pressure, all of these things that affect you on a daily basis, you have to be able to negate it. And exercise is a great way to release stress while taking care of your body. Like, it's just a great combination. And if you add that in also with eating right and dieting, brothers, y'all can live a long, fruitful life out here. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is an article that I saw on NBC News. So let's go ahead and get into it. So Black people have the highest rates of death from heart disease. Could more Black cardiologists help? So it says here that studies estimate that Black doctors make up as little as 3% of cardiologists in the United States. So I've delved into this sort of topic before, but this is a very interesting article because it goes back to this idea of eating right and exercising to take care of yourself, particularly as a Black man, considering the stresses that the brothers have to endure on a daily basis out here. So the facts are showing that, you know, Black people have the highest rates of death from heart disease. And see, a lot of that is high blood pressure. High blood pressure, you know, just not taking care of your body. So you see that's very, very important. So it's actually a sister that wrote this article. Her name is Claretta Bellamy. So she says, for Elliston Harris, heart attacks seem to be a generational curse. Several men from his father's side of the family, including Harris's uncles, died from heart attacks. Harris, who was 59 and a former college basketball player, almost experienced a similar fate after his own heart attack in 2017. The only signs he was having of a heart attack that he noticed were small symptoms of back pain and trapped gas. So for Harris, the curse may have been a blessing in disguise. While being treated at Advocate Trinity Hospital, a medical center in Southeast Chicago, he was referred to Dr. Marlon Everett, a cardiologist who gave him a game plan to follow. This including putting God first, eating healthy, and concentrating on his checkups. But aside from Everett's expertise, Harris said he felt comfortable because Everett looked like him. So what this is basically saying already is that, and this is just an anecdotal case, but it's showing, and it's a trend now, that Black people feel more comfortable when they're seeing a Black doctor. You know, there's more trust there, like there's more understanding there. So one of the things that we have to do is we do have to go get checkups as men. Like, it's important to go get a checkup. I know, because I was of that same mindset. I don't go to the doctor unless I am sick, like really sick and something is wrong, right? But after seeing numerous brothers dying and, you know, going through issues like health problems, like, you have to start to realize that you have to start prioritizing your health first. And one part of that is making sure that you go get a checkup. Go get a checkup. You know what I mean? Go to the doctor. Regardless of the race of the doctor, I mean, it's important that you go get seen. I'm just saying. Quote, when you are African American or Black, you're more comfortable interacting with someone who knows, okay, he might have grew up here, or he might eat this, or I heard them do that, said Harris, who lives in Chicago. So you're a lot more comfortable with people who walk in familiar footsteps. Like, that's a human nature thing. Like, that's just how humans behave. Like people tend to socialize and be more outward going with like people, you know, like, it just makes sense, you know. But I think that with Black men particularly like this is an issue. You know, I would say, regardless, put your health first and make sure that you go and get checked out, But this information is really, really telling because it's showing that, generally speaking across the board, if there were more Black doctors, then more Black people would go and get checked out, men and women. That's very interesting. Around 60% of Black American adults have heart disease. And heart disease death rates are highest among Black Americans compared to other racial and ethnic groups, according to the American Heart Association. So, see, that right there is statistical information that says that, Black Americans have this, like, they die more from heart disease than any other group. So this is something that, you as a Black man should take heed to and be very aware of. You just go get a checkup. Make sure that you get your checkups. Says here, yet Harris' experience of having a cardiologist who looks like him is a rarity, right? A 2021 report by the Association of American Medical Colleges found that only 4.2% of cardiologists are Black. And this goes to another thing, is that we have to try to encourage more Black men and Black women to go into these specialized fields, because with more familiarity into these fields, they can bestow more knowledge. Like if I had a sister or a cousin or a aunt or a uncle that was a cardiologist, like he would be able to tell me about things to look out for, things to do. Like the knowledge, starts to permeate through the community that way. So like if there were more cardiologists and more Black doctors, more important information, like health information that's pertinent, could be, permeated through the community. It says here, an earlier study published in 2019 in the journal JAMA Cardiology had similar findings, revealing that Black doctors made up only 3% of the cardiologist workforce. That same report found that 51% of cardiologists were white and 19 were Asian. So see, there's a lot of work to do. And this is what I mean when I say there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work to do for Black men out here to, get into these fields to help each other so that we can live longer and more productive lives out here. That's what it's all about. Increasing the number of Black cardiologists could mean better heart health for Black patients. That just goes without saying. Oh, hey there, Marvel, how you doing tonight?
Hey, what's up, brother? I've been listening to you. This is a good topic that you're covering, brother. I agree with everything you're saying. Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Oh, I appreciate that, brother. Yeah, thanks for coming up, man. So, quote, underrepresented medical professionals are more likely to practice in their communities where cultural sensitivity can create trust, and their presence have been shown to improve outcomes, the AHA said in a statement to NBC News. Quote, this connection is particularly important among Black Americans where it comes to heart health. And that's just a fact because the data was just showing that Black Americans are more likely to die from heart disease than any other race or any other group of people. So yes, I mean, this is very, very important that more Black men and Black women get involved in these fields. That way, that's going to help improve our quality of life as well. Not just the length of time, but the quality of your time can be improved as well. So now I get into this question in the article where it asks, why are there so few Black cardiologists? So Dr. Mary Branch, a cardiologist based in Greensboro, North Carolina, said she first became interested in cardiology nearly 20 years ago after shadowing a white interventional cardiologist who was very accepting of me. She said, the path to cardiology is onerous, and includes 4 years of medical school, 3 years of internal medicine residency, and 3 years of a cardiology fellowship, in addition to several board exams, she said, which can be a difficult path to follow. But see, I would agree that that does sound like a lot of, training, a lot of, requirements to be able to practice this type of medicine, but we have to get our numbers up. Like, it's very important that our numbers get up. More people need to be trying to get into that field. If more of our people are getting into this cardiology school and going into the program, then surely, there will be some result of that. So don't let the path, and this is the one thing that I would say, although, I mean, it seems like a hard road, I mean, don't let that discourage you from doing this. I mean, this is very important. This is very important work. So don't let this discourage you from going into the field. So then it says, Branch, a fourth generation physician, said her path also included financial strain and discrimination, hurdles that are all too common for Black medical students, and among the reasons, she said, why there are so few Black doctors in cardiology. And see, this is the one thing that I would say is that I would agree with her. There is, a lot of racism still going on, but it's going on in certain types of ways, in certain sectors, that's really unfortunate. But we can't, use that as an excuse to say, well, I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to try because, of what other people went through. If everyone thought like that, then there would be no improvement out here, little to none. But we have to, stay positive and keep going forward. So it says Branch was the first Black woman to enter the cardiovascular disease fellowship at the Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So that is a very great accomplishment for that sister. At one point during her fellowship, she said she lived in a hotel while trying to find secure housing. Even without a place to stay, Branch said she was still showing up at her fellowship. See, it takes a dedication and a love of your craft to stay focused. The road is not going to always be easy. Many times, we know as Black men, the road is very treacherous and difficult. But when it's something that we care about and something that we have a dedication to, we don't let that stop us. So, quote, really, it was just God saying, you're needed, she said. So we got to keep going. but that meant a lot of hard choices. Many Black medical students can also experience harsh microaggressions, which can prevent them from becoming a cardiologist, Branch said. The margin of error can be very small for Black trainees, she said. While most medical students and residents of all races perceived high levels of mistreatment, Black people perceive more stress in medical school than white people, according to a 2006 study in the Journal of the National Medical Association. The perceived stress stemmed from their minority status and the experiences of racial discrimination in training. A 2021 study in the Journal of General Internal Medicine found that the proportion of Black doctors in the United States had increased by only 4 percentage points over the last 120 years. See, this is what I mean by there's a lot of work to do, on both of our parts, Black men and on Black women's parts out here. There are many things that we need to, fields that we need to get into to try to really make a difference in the Black community. And this is one of them. The study also found that the share of Black male doctors remained the same since 1940. See, brothers, there's a lot of work to do. We need more brothers going into the medical field, because it right here, it just said that the share of Black male doctors remained the same since 1940. We're going, after a while, it would almost be 100 years. And we're in the same position as Black men as far as getting into these medical fields as doctors. That's really, really unfortunate. So while there's little data on the rates of Black women in cardiology, Black women make up only 2.8% of the physician workforce, according to a 2021 perspective in The Lancet. So Everett, who is a member of the Association of Black Cardiologists, a national organization bringing attention to the harmful impact of heart disease on Black people, cited a lack of adequate training programs for doctors who want to be cardiologists. Most cardiology programs may only have 3 or 4 cardiology training positions, but, quote, we're just not getting those training positions, unquote, he said. Quote, until there are programs that are mandating that there's diversity in training programs, we're never going to have a lot of inclusivity, especially in the sought out training programs such as cardiology, Everett added. So, I mean, Marvel, basically, I didn't want to get too far in that, but I mean, when we say in the Black manosphere here that there's a lot of work to be done, that's what we're talking about. That's what I'm talking about, is that there's a lot of things that we could be doing out here to help not only our families, but in turn helping the community generally across the board. If I had, a cardiologist as a cousin, or a cardiologist as a sister, or a cardiologist as a daughter, that would help like my entire family. And in turn, that knowledge can be passed on to other Black families. I could tell you, Marvel, my sister, she's a cardiologist, and she, knows her stuff, and been in school, and is doing this and doing that, and she says X, Y, and Z, and saying go get checked out, go do this, go do that. See, that knowledge sort of permeates throughout the Black community, and that's just one area, brother, right there, the medical field, where I think that we as Black men can definitely improve on, brother. So what you think so far, man?
I think you've been spot on the whole time, brother. It would be better if we had more, just black doctors, black men, in general, as far as being doctors and cardiologists, like you were talking about earlier. That would mean a lot. And like, because I thought about what you said earlier. When you're a black man, and even in a lot of cases, black women, you just feel more comfortable and more at ease when you're dealing with someone that has the same skin tone as you, and you feel like they can relate to you, and you feel like, excuse me, they're going to be able to deal. They're going to have a better understanding of what you're going through, and they're going to be able to empathize with you on a different type of level than, say, someone of a different race or whatever the case may be. I mean, it's not. I'm not trying to say that someone of a different race is just not going to care about you altogether. But when y'all are, you just feel like there's a, you can't really put words into how someone that's taking care of you or looking out for you, that's the same race as you, they feel like they can relate to you, and you can relate to them in a certain type of way. I've dealt with that, because I've had to go to the doctor quite a bit, as far as dealing with my kidney problems and just different issues, different surgeries I've had to have over time. And you just feel a special kind of way when the person is a black doctor, and even if it's a black nurse, you feel like they're going to look out for you and look after you in a special way. And I've had to go through situations like that, and it's very rare that you run into a black doctor, just being able to look out for you, and give you tell you what's real, and keep it real with you, and just have, like, that good bedside manner and all that stuff, and be honest with you, and be kind to you when you need, and also be comforting to you, and be comforting to your family, and let them know, hey, you're gonna be all right. If you're going through a hard time, you may be going through an illness, or I heard you talking about earlier how a lot of black people they end up experiencing symptoms as far as heart attacks and things like that. You may go through a rough situation, and you want someone that's gonna be able to help you feel at ease. You don't want someone that's going to have you feeling anxious and on the edge, and you don't know how to feel. You don't know what comes. You don't have an idea of what's going to come next, or you have someone that's just very pessimistic, a doctor that's just he's just negative the whole time. I mean, you want someone that's going to keep it real with you, but at the same time not just be getting to a point to where you feel like you're being beat down by this person. You want them to just be able to understand you. And I just feel like when you're in the hands of a black doctor, whether it be a man or a woman, they're going to be able to relate to you. And I've had situations like that a couple of times. My daughter's mother, her uncle, is actually a doctor at the VA, and he kind of rotates on and off at another hospital, but sometimes he works at the VA. And I've seen him a couple of times, and he was always very understanding, real nice. He actually seen my father too, because we both go to the VA. And he would always he would actually let my daughter's mother know that he saw me, and then I would go see her, and would let me know, hey, my uncle told me he saw you at the hospital the other day, and he just wanted me to he just wanted to let me know. I'm like, yeah, I ran into him, and yeah, he saw me. And it's good to know that you have someone that can relate to you, and then I know him, and he knows my father, so he's gonna look out for us in a special kind of way, because I'm the father of his niece, of his great niece. So I mean, of course, he's gonna look out for me in a different way. And of course, I was with his niece for close to 10 years. I was engaged to his niece, so he kind. I ain't gonna say he look at me as family, but I mean, he looks at me as someone that, hey, I feel like I need to look out for this guy, because he is kind of like my family, even though he didn't marry my niece. So you're right about everything you were saying, brother. It's just, you feel more at ease, you feel more comfortable, you feel like you can, to a certain extent, rely on a person when they feel. It's like they feel what you're going through, even though they may not be going through it themselves. And even though I've been lucky enough to have good doctors of all races, I will say, I'm not trying to dog white men. I don't White men. I feel like they can be good doctors, but white women, I've had better experiences with white women and black doctors than I have with white men doctors. Uh, I will say that, because I can remember when I was stationed in Virginia. there was a time when it's like the guy, hey, he was a white, a white guy doctor, kind of young. He had an attitude, and he was kind of getting like snappy with my mother and father because they came to stay with me because this is when I first went into kidney failure when I was stationed in Virginia at Langley Air Force Base. And I'm over there and I'm in the hospital and I'm kind of stressed out because at the time I really didn't know what was going on. And so next thing I know, I'm getting told, hey, this the guy says, hey, you know what? I don't know it was kidney problems. It may be cancer. You may have like a form of cancer. So they tell my mom and dad this, and my mom and dad are freaking out. We're like, hey, what happened to him having kidney problems? Y'all talking about cancer. And so it was like, it was a lot of things going on. And, and then another doctor came and said, hey, it's not cancer. It was actually a lady doctor, a white lady doctor. She's like, it's not cancer. It's something else. We think that it may be kidney. He may just be in kidney failure. It's a certain form of kidney failure, but it's not cancer. And I remember my mother and father were very upset. And the doctor, he kind of was just like, whatever. And even I was upset. I'm like, hey, man, you can't just go around just, saying you think it's one thing and that's not what it is. You don't know for sure. And he was just kind of just like snarky and had like this, like cocky attitude, conceited type. Like, yeah, I can do whatever I want. I'm a doctor, and I just feel like, black doctors don't act like that. And I'm not trying to turn it into a race thing, but I felt like that at that time. And I felt like that particular guy, he didn't take into consideration that I'm dealing with it. At this time, I think I may have been 25, 26. And so I'm pretty young at the time. So my head's kind of just spinning all over the place. My mom and dad are just, they scared to death. So everybody's kind of just, on edge. And for him to just do that and act like that and say that, it just kind of just threw everybody off and it threw me off. And I can just remember at that time just feeling just really anxious, really scared, not knowing what's going to happen next. And, and then it took, the lady doctor to come and she came in. She pretty much calmed everything down. And then once I got back to Louisiana, when the time came, they eventually let me come back to close to my family, and I got to be back in Louisiana. And eventually I ended up getting black doctors once I got back here, and everything worked out real good, and everything turned out well. But it's like you said, brother. I want to see more black men and black women get into the medical field. Whether you be a nurse or a doctor, whatever the case you may have you. Whatever you decide to do, it would just be better overall for us as black people because we do have a lot of just different illnesses and different sicknesses that we go through, and a lot of the time we don't even know what we're dealing with. And like you said earlier, it would be helpful if someone in the family had an idea of what is going on and what to spot and what the symptoms are as far as different illnesses. It would help if you had a sister or a cousin or a niece or whatever that's a cardiologist or a nephrologist or whatever the case may be, or just even just a general doctor, just anyone that could just be of help as far as your health and everything like that. It would be it'd be real good just to see more black people go to the medical field altogether.
Yeah, brother, like I totally agree with you, man. Like, those are interesting stories that you had there, some real, life experiences. I mean, it's a lot of brothers, man, that when they go through a negative experience, with a doctor, they say, well, you know what? We don't have many options out here, so, and the last experience I had, showed me I shouldn't go. And see, you know what? That's really unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of people that think like that. Particularly black men. Like if I go, I've heard a lot of brothers say. I mean, they go to the doctor and they, poking them, prodding them. I mean, they ain't doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? Really for them. They, what I'm saying? Running up the insurance bill and all they want is money. You know what I mean? And some of that is true. But it's just unfortunate because it's like this. It's like, I mean, at some point, you do have to say, okay, listen, I understand that, that they looking, I mean, it's a business, man. Like, it's unfortunate, but they've turned this healthcare system into a business. And what that means is that it's for profit. So, yeah, a pill of Tylenol is $20 damn. You know what I mean? Like, it really don't make damn sense, right? And see, it's stuff like that that turns a lot of us off, you know, because we know that a lot of times they're, you know, saying doing a lot of unnecessary tests. You know, I mean, a lot of things that they just doing to, you know, to try to get paid. But you have to also look at it like this as well, is that, I mean, the more that they do, the more that you find out about your health. So if they running all these tests and stuff and they say, well, you know, your iodine is low, or your, you know, potassium is low, you know, and all this. I mean, it's not really, really low, but it's kind of on the low side. Well, see, that's good information, you know, because that tells you, well, then maybe I need to, you know, adjust my diet to, you know, compensate for the, you know, that low, you know, number there, you know, to bring it more closer to the normal, you know. But it's certain, you know, and then the history too, like if you think about the history, many of our older brothers and sisters out there experience this, is that, I mean, they always think about what happened, you know, to Black people during like the Tuskegee experiments and things of that nature. So there's an aversion for some of these older brothers and sisters to go to the doctor because, you know, they've looked at the history. But once again, like I would say again, is that, I mean, times have improved. Did those things happen? Yes, those things did happen. But we're living in a time now where there's more accountability. You know, there's more eyes on what's going on. And particularly like if you have family there at the doctor with you or at the hospital with you, they're also kind of watching to kind of see what's going on. So there's a lot more accountability, like a lot more there, so that those type of things don't occur, you know. So I would
brother,
definitely,
you right about that, brother. Yeah, that's true,
yeah,
brother. My girlfriend, she did a real good job with that. The last time I went into the, as I told you, brother, I had that surgery where they had to remove my original kidneys that were left. They had to remove them altogether because one of them had cancer, had a cancer on it. So they had to take them out. If it wasn't for my girlfriend, them people would have. I gotta be honest, brother. They probably would have treated me like shit. They would have treated me like shit, brother. But she stayed on them people. She actually, I felt sorry for her because she stayed up there, and I'm trying to tell her, go to the house, go. I'm giving her my key. I'm trying to force her out the hospital. She wouldn't leave. She's like, nah, I got to stay up here. And she was just too scared that, and then she was crying a little bit, and she was real scared. She just really thought that if I leave you over here by yourself, they're gonna mess you over. They're not gonna give you what you need. They ain't gonna give you your medicine. They ain't gonna give you your stuff. They ain't, if you start hurting, they ain't gonna give you what you supposed to get. And I'm just like, I'll be all right. Don't worry about it. She's like, nah, I'm not leaving. And she didn't leave. She didn't leave. She stayed up there for a week straight before she finally just went home. I'm like, you gotta go. I'm like, you gotta go home. You can't stay up here. You can't stay up here for 2 weeks straight. I mean, you gotta go. And plus she had to go to work too. And she's able to work from she's able to come to my house and work because she, like I told you before, brother, she was just here a week ago, and every time she comes, she stays for about a week and a half, about 2 weeks, and she stayed for a month that time when I was in the hospital. So I was in the hospital for right at a month, and she stayed for the whole time, and she looked after me. She took care of me. She stayed on the nurses and on the doctors and everybody. And it's funny because uh, my mother and father, they usually will come up to the hospital with me because a lot of the time, because even when I was with my daughter's mother, she will come up there with me too, but not as much. You know, a lot of times she just be ready to leave because she got different stuff she need to do, and she has my daughter and everything like that. But my girlfriend was staying up there the whole time, and she basically told my mother and father, "Hey, just don't worry about coming up here. I got it." And they were like, "Oh, you know, that's what's up." And I just felt bad for her because the nurses, they seen that she was there and they pretty much backed up from doing their stuff. Like they weren't even really doing the stuff that they normally was supposed to do. And then I had to like get on to the nurses like, hey, my girlfriend, she ain't no nurse. What the hell y'all doing? Get up off y'all ass and do your damn job. And I mean, overall, everything worked out real good. I mean, it wasn't as bad as it could have been. It wasn't my best visit to the hospital, but I mean, it wasn't that bad. It was pretty good because my girlfriend was there, and she really did stay on the nurses, and she looked out for me, and she took care of me real good. And she's a great woman, and I love her to death, and she really did a lot for me. And at the time, my daughter's mother, when we were together, she was real good about doing the same thing. And so I mean, it's better, like you said earlier, brother. It's just better when a family member or someone that that cares about you is up there with you, because they will catch little things that are getting done, or someone's trying to mess you over. They'll catch that, and they'll stop it from getting done. But if they see, excuse me, if they see that you go up there by yourself, they're more than likely to mess you over. I hate to say it like that. I know that sounds bad, but that's just what it is. You'll be in, like, I remember when a while back when I had to go to back when I was doing dialysis and I had to go to the hospital, and I had an infection, and there was a lady and she was hollering for like 2 days straight, and it's like nobody was really going in there. I'm just like, man, why they won't go in her room? She's screaming, she hollering, she kept me up the whole time, and I couldn't really sleep because I felt bad for her. It was an older lady, and they were just kind of acting like she wouldn't even, doing nothing. I mean, everybody could clearly hear her in pain, but it's like nobody really did anything. But if she would have had someone that came to see her, or came up there with her, maybe things would have been different. But when a lot of the times when you go to those hospitals and they see that you're there by yourself, they tend to look over you. I'm not saying that is right, but that's usually how it ends up happening. That's usually how things end up going. And it's not right, but it's unfortunate.
Yeah, brother. Like
Yeah.
it tends to be like just kind of one of those things. Like if they see that there's nobody there watching them, they can, they would not do as much as they would if they knew that people were watching them. I mean, it's kind of like this, right? If you know you're on camera and people are watching you, you're gonna be very careful with what you're doing, more so than if you knew it wasn't nobody watching, right? You know what I mean? That's sort of one of those things, man. Unfortunately, I mean, it's not supposed to be that way, but it is what it is out here. I mean, one of the things I wanted to kind of get into too, brother, is that I mean, with the Black Manosphere, what I'm saying, we've got the conclaves coming up, and we got brothers that are, uh, in line trying to help other brothers, get their health in order. Go eat right, exercise correctly. And I think that's something I want to get more into, because I noticed that a lot of what we have to consume out here as far as food is not really real food. It's processed food. Like it's not good for your body. Like it's so high in sodium. Like a lot of
Yeah,
those
brother. Yeah.
processed foods are, sodium rich, and they put so many like artificial things in them that it's almost like it's not food. Like it's just almost just not food. But I kind of wanted to, kind of get into that, what I'm saying, probably into the future as to what are we consuming out here? What I'm saying, try to get a better diet, try to, what I'm saying, cook more, try to, do more for yourself more than, buy these processed foods and things of that nature. To some level, all of this food that you buy is processed. To some extent, it's all processed, but it's better to get, the less processed food than it is the most processed food. Like I know people, brother, I've been working at this place for a long time, right? So when I first started my job, like I would, I would get these TV dinners, right? They call them TV dinners, right? And then put them in the microwave and eat them and eat them and eat them. After a period of time, I noticed I wasn't feeling right, so I changed up. Like I changed up to a different, brand or whatever. It got better, but then the same thing started happening again. So at that point, I had to make a decision. Like, I either was gonna, like, continue to buy those, those processed foods and eat them, or I was gonna change up, and I decided to change up. So I started bringing, like, actually cooked, like, home cooked food to work and eating that. And brother, like, I've never had that problem ever since then. And brother, they put so much salt in this food, bro. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, it's a lot of salt, man. Like, like if actually put the proportion of salt in your food as directed, you notice a huge difference. You know what I mean? And then when you try to go back and eat that same food, it's like, man, did they just pour the whole thing of salt in this food? Like, man, I can't even eat this.
Yeah, brother.
You know
I
what I
know
mean?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, man. You know what I mean? But, like, it's stuff like that that I want to kind of get more into, as far as, what I'm saying, what are they putting in these foods? Because people are getting cancer more. You know what I mean? Cancer is very prevalent now, more so than it used to be. More people are having, like, strokes from high blood pressure. Complications from high blood pressure. So it's a lot of it, I think, has to do with the food. You know what I mean? But so eating right is very important as a Black man. Try to eat right, and see, brother, that goes right back. Brother, that goes right back to what we say all of the time here. Like, if you had a wife or a family there, say, like a woman there to cook for you, you wouldn't have this problem. Saying, a lot
That's
of
right,
brothers
brother.
wouldn't
That's
have this
right.
damn problem. So it just goes back to that. You know what I'm saying? But see, a lot of these women right now don't want to cook. You know what I mean? Like, they don't even know how to cook. I mean, I don't even know why you have a kitchen. I mean, if you don't want to cook, why even have a damn kitchen? Just convert that into a damn bedroom.
Yeah,
Bro,
brother. I remember you said that back in the day, brother. We was on the stream a while back. And you said, "Why you got this damn kitchen? Just turn that shit into
yeah,
another room." You said something like that. I remember that shit.
yeah, man, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
remember you saying that, brother. That was a while back, brother.
Yeah, you know what? I just thought about it again, so I had to bring it up. But yeah, man. I mean, my thing is that as a Black man, as Black men operating out here, there are unique challenges that we face. I mean, there's stresses and things that we face that no other group faces out here. Like, when you go out and step outside of your house, brother, like, that the world is looking at you. Like, you have to behave a certain kind of way. You're expected to behave a certain type of way, and you're expected to keep your emotions in check, not to get angry, and not to have no feeling at all. And see, we have gotten adapted to that, based on, how this society judges and treats Black men who voice their opinions. See, anytime a Black man voices their opinion out here, they're categorized as being angry, as being aggressive, as to say that we're, like, out of control, and see, that's something that, you see, it puts a stress on Black men daily to have to, understand, okay, the world is looking at me. I can't do what that white man doing out here. Like, I can't, say that. I can't do that, because if I did that, things would turn out different. You know what I mean? Like, things would be terrible for me. You know what I mean? So we understand that. So see, that's a stress, that's put upon us, that's not put upon anybody else. So we have to, what I'm saying, just
That's right,
understand that,
brother. That's
yeah,
right.
brother, that we have to take care of our bodies out here. And some of that is just exercise. Because, like, I'm really big on exercising, because, brother, like, I just noticed that when I go out for my runs and stuff, bro, like after I run, I get all of that stress out, bro. I feel so much better. Like I have, you know what I'm saying, like a rejuvenated energy, and all of that previous stress that I had before I went out there and ran, it's all gone. It's all gone. So that's why I tell brothers, you know, if things are bothering you, you know, find a way to relieve that stress in a positive way. You know, go out there and exercise. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, brother. That's what I miss, brother. I miss being able to run. Before I got my kidney transplant, I was a workout machine, brother. I lifted weights, I ran, I did it all. I was good, and I remember my daughter's mother. She actually brought that up not that long ago. It was about a couple of months ago. She was like, I remember when we first got together, you would wake up early on Saturday morning. Like, you know, I always used to wake up every Saturday morning, go running and go lift weights every Saturday morning. I mean, I sometimes I did it through the week, but I did it every Saturday morning. And I just, you know, I think about that all the time, how I'm not really able to do that anymore because of my kidney problems and having to, you know, getting a transplant. Your body's not the same. And, you know, you've had so many different surgeries and all these things that's went on with you, all the medicine you have to take. You're not physically the same like you were at first. Even when I was in the Air Force, I ran, I lifted. I mean, I was just a big, strong, fast dude. I could run for miles. I was strong. I mean, I was good. And you know, you get sick, and then you lose weight, and then you gain some, and then you lose a lot, and you gain a little. It just your weight just goes up and down. You're taking all these different medications, and you know, you have all these up and down type of mood swings, and there's all this stuff going on with you, and you're trying to figure out what's going on, and every medication has a different side effect, and it's just all kinds of things going, and you're trying to stay alive. You're trying to keep your mind right, and at the same time, you're trying to raise a family, and you're trying to maintain a healthy relationship with your significant other. So there's all these things going on, and you know, and like I said, brother, just going through all that stuff and going through a chronic illness, going through a life-threatening illness, and trying to take care of my family and being the main one, and seeing, you know, and losing my career in the process. I mean, yeah, I got medically retired, but at the same time, I wanted to retire like how my father did. Like I got medically retired. Like I had to. It was like a forced retirement. Like, hey, you can't serve anymore because you're in kidney failure. You're done. You can't do anything. We can't send you on any temporary deployments. We can't send you on any like deployments out of the country or anything like that. You know, you're pretty much useless. You can't do anything. You can't go anywhere. So, you know, and plus you're gonna have to go to dialysis. So we have to retire you, a medical retirement. So some people look at it, and even my dad, he looks at it as like, hey, everything worked out real good. And you know, everything did work out real good. But at the same time, I wanted to do 20 years. I talk to my friend all the time. He did 22 years. Well, 23 actually. He did 23 years. And he retired. That was supposed, like, me and him pretty much came in at the same time. So that was me and him were supposed to pretty much retire together. But he retired how I was supposed to, but I got sick. So I had to medically retire, and he retired the way I wanted to retire, the regular way. So things like that kind of, you know, it kind of get to me sometimes. And he sent me a video of his retirement ceremony and everything like that. You know, I kind of felt a certain kind of way. I'm like, hey, man, I'm supposed to be right there with you. But he's like, hey, man, he's like, you've been retired. I'm like, yeah, but I ain't wanted to be like this. But he's like, hey, it wasn't nothing that you could do. You know, we didn't know you was going to be sick the way you ended up being sick. You know, nobody knew that. I'm like, well, yeah, you know, it's just the way it worked out. He was like, you know, and that's how it worked out. And, you know, so everything worked out well. But at the same time, I mean, everybody, you know, wants things, you know, you want the best for everything. You want everything to work out the best. And, you know, a lot of that does go back to looking out for your health. You have to figure out if you have something wrong with you, if something is going on with you. And brothers do need to go to the doctor and go get checkups more. Like you said earlier, that needs to happen more. And as much as we don't like to, we have to do it. That's just what it is. And excuse me, I mean, who knows? Maybe if I would have, just took it more serious in the beginning, I would have, been able to spot it, earlier. I would have been able to spot my kidney problems earlier instead of going into full-blown kidney failure and then finding out what was wrong with me. But instead, I ended up having to, go through all that just to find out exactly what I had going on with me. But so that goes, so I blame myself a little bit for that. But I would also want people to look at me and learn from me and understand that it's only right for brothers and the women. When you black, that's just what it is. You're a black woman, you're a black man. You need to go to the doctor. You need to get checkups. You need to find out what's going on with you. You need to find out if, you may think that you feel just fine. You may feel like you feel all right, but it might be something really going on with you. You never know. But it don't hurt for you to just go to the doctor, every once in a while and just get checked up and just see if everything is everything going good with you. There's nothing, you have no issues, nothing's wrong with you. And for yourself. So later on down the line, if something does go on with you, you won't be surprised.
Yeah, that's right, brother. You know what I mean? So like, saying great point, brother. Great point.